To talk about Prime Minister Narendra Modi's big state visit to the United States, we're joined in New Delhi by the US Ambassador to India, Garcetti. Mr. Garcetti, welcome. And it's fantastic to see you in person. All of us in India have been waiting for you for so long, so it's really great to have you here.
Well, it feels like home. Thank you. It's so much has changed, but the warmth of India has not.
Oh, fantastic. We've seen a massive build-up to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit. The National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, was here. Do you want to give our viewers at India Today a sense of what they should expect? What do you hope would be the big takeaways of the Prime Minister's state visit to the US?
Well, I think it's a historic visit, but it's also at an historic moment, an historic time, not just in the friendship between the United States and India, but even in the world, the global challenges we face, everything from climate change to war. How do we have what I call the 4 Ps? Peace, prosperity, our planet, and people. And I think this visit will focus on how India and the United States can be a force for good in each of these, creating more peace, building more prosperity, protecting our planet, and connecting our people.
The US Defense Secretary was here. The National Security Advisor has been here. Some of the key outcomes are being kept guarded, but can you give us a sense of what people should expect in terms of the key announcements that are likely to be made during the Prime Minister's visit?
Well, I think no surprises to all of your viewers and to folks who have been watching this relationship. We've been deepening our military cooperation, whether that's defense production, our technologies, our training. All of that is a really important piece of deterring bad actors, but also strengthening our own defense in the Indo-Pacific region. Second, you're going to see, as we just saw with the National Security Advisor's visit, technology. How can India, which is brilliant on technology, and America, which has cutting-edge universities in technology, use technology as a force for good? So I think you'll see things around how do we ensure that our cell phones are used to protect us and connect us, not to oppress us? What can we do to have critical minerals move forward so the supply chain is diversified? And what can we do to lessen some of the trade wars that even at a small level we've seen burn for decades between the US and India? And then I think when it comes to the people-to-people, we're going to see, I think, some agreements to move forward on climate at work. We're going to see agreements on education, and hopefully some good things that will connect our people with fewer wait times for folks who are looking to travel to the United States, whether it's as students or whether it's as immigrants.
That's a big issue here. People
Absolutely.
Waiting for visas.
And a priority of mine.
Oh, great, fantastic. Hopefully you can resolve some of those niggles. Prime Minister Modi has been to the United States earlier. This is his first state visit, though. Do you want to give us a sense of how important this is in the US scheme of things, this relationship with India and this particular moment?
I think this is the most critical relationship growing in the world today, and I think that this visit reflects that. I know the Prime Minister came as a young man, talks about how he looked at the White House, and now to come back as leader of the most populous country in the world, the largest democracy in the world. I hope that this will really be a chance for people to see these are two countries that don't just do big things, we have values underneath them, the foundations of the things that we stand for, pluralistic societies, making sure that, like this interview, we have a press that informs us, looking at the ways we can empower women, take the poor and move them into the middle class, how technology can help us have opportunity. That will really be highlighted, I think, in a beautiful way, not just to improve India and the United States, but imagine what India and the United States can do together for the rest of the world.
India-US ties are deepening at a time when tensions between Washington and Beijing and New Delhi are increasing as well. How do you see the India-US dynamic play out in the context of China trying to rise as a superpower and try and dominate its neighbors and the rest of the world?
Well, I think that we share those values, that we should have a free Indo-Pacific region, freedom of the seas, that we should have protection of basic democracy and human rights. I think that we see our relationship not based on any third party. And I know India wants to have more peaceful relations with China. The United States wants to have more peaceful relations with China. But in the meantime, if we see any country out there acting against rule of law, acting against our interests, I think we have a deep friendship and, in many ways, a strategic partnership that says we will be there for each other in times of need.
You know, you've come to India at a time when this massive visit's happening, and everybody's been waiting for your confirmation to happen, for you to come here. How is your stint in India been so far? Because, whether it's Anthony Blinken, whether it's Jake Sullivan, whether it's the Defense Secretary, you had massive visits happening at a very high level. So you literally been thrown into the hot seat.
I think every ambassador around the world, American ambassador, is jealous of how much attention India is getting. I mean, to have a visit of the Prime Minister at a state visit, to have our president come for the G20 2 months later. They just saw each other in Japan. Hopefully they'll see each other even later in the year. This is, I think, indicative that India is hot, America is hot, and that Indians love Americans and Americans love Indians. It's a time for us to strengthen that bridge between us. It's a time for us to do that not just for ourselves, but also, I think, increasingly for the world.
Let's spend a moment on that G20 Summit.
Yes.
President Joe Biden will be here in September. How do you see India's presidency shape up so far, and what do you think should be or could be the key legacy that the Indian presidency leaves behind?
India is really a bridge between East and West, a bridge between North and South, and a bridge between the past and the future. And in that sense, I think we have an amazing opportunity to see India's leadership, whether it's empowering women, whether it's making sure that folks have access to capital, whether it's looking at the work that's being done with technology as a force for good. These things together, I think, can be the legacy of G20, and we're very excited to support India's chairing of this. We know it's a difficult time. We might not get unanimity on everything, especially when it comes to war. We'll speak up still about a war of aggression of the Russians in Ukraine. But that doesn't mean the other work has to stop. We will see, I think, some very productive, very important work, and we invite every country to join us in that here in India.
Well, thank you very much. I hear that there's a huge demand for people to be in D.C. at that big dinner that President Biden...
Hottest ticket in town.
Yeah, it is absolutely the hottest ticket in town. We look forward to seeing you there.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Ambassador.
My pleasure.
And we wish you all the best. Hope you have a great stint. And that promise that you just made about reducing visa times, everyone watching, I can guarantee you,
will
hold you to that.
We're going to be working hard to get it done.
Wish you all the
Thank
best.
you.
Thank you,
Appreciate
sir.
it.
Thank you.